Morning, everyone. Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be here this morning. So, as I've just been introduced as the Marketing Director for Adnams, so I look after everything from the corporate programme through to our beers and also our spirits. So a very good and fun job. Today I'll just be talking through just a brief history of Adnams for those of you who are not aware of us. I'll be talking through our distilling and how we started distilling just back in 2010, and then really just give you a bit of an outline to what those products are and where we're taking them, and some of our future plans, which some are a little bit secret, so don't tweet. So just as a company, we are based in Southwold in Suffolk. We've been there brewing beer since 1872. We are a family business. We are a PLC. Jonathan Adnams is our chairman and very much involved in the business today. But as a PLC, we do have a responsibility to our shareholders. Around 1999-2000, we really reinvented ourselves as a company. We had been a family brewer, really sort of doing the same that a lot of other brewers were doing, and we were in danger of becoming a little bit stagnant. So what we did was really look at ourselves and reinvent ourselves as a values-based company. And as a result, we have freed ourselves up to enable innovation, allowed ourselves to make mistakes occasionally, and really just become very concerned about our impact on the environment and our community around us. So now we are a regional brand. We're still very much within our logo. Southwold is integral to that. We're very proud of where we're from, but we do have a national and increasingly international reach. So in terms of us as a brand, we are very much a marketing-led organisation. We do look at consumer research. We do analyse the data, but actually a lot of it we go by our instinct. We go by trial and learn, and we do what we think's right. We believe we have incredible products. We have award-winning products, a really strong brand, and then great customer service. And it's all these things I think that come together that we try and get people to love Adnams. And I think once people have understood a little bit about us, tasted our products, hopefully they will indeed become brand ambassadors. So looking at the history of distilling at Adnams, as I say, we started distilling in 2010. And this came about from a development in our brewery. And we put in a new kit in 2008, and actually it left a space. And if you look at the front of your programme today, this is our distillery. And the hole here was where the old coppers used to be. And when they were moved out into a new building, it left this space. And our chairman, Jonathan, thought, I can't have that, can't have a space doing nothing within the brewery. So, and had been hearing about sort of craft distilling emerging as from the States, as we've seen with craft beer. So he did quite a lot of research and thought that space would be perfect for a distillery. Now, we had a little bit of an issue in the fact that at the time you were not allowed to distill and brew in the same building. So we got somebody in from HMRC to have a discussion with them and say, what is the issue, what is the status? And his advice was test it, put in an application for a distilling licence and see where it goes. I think he thought, cha-ching, I can see that if I have a distillery on my patch, I'm going to get a bit more income from that. So he was very supportive. And indeed, we did get our licence. So there we were in April of 2010 with a distilling licence and no distillery. So we built one, and Jonathan was very passionate in getting the right kit, and he went over to the States and set up on a course with one of our engineers, John McCarthy, who many of you may know. Whilst on that trip, John asked who's going to be the distiller, and Jonathan said, I'm not quite sure yet. So John said, can I do it? And he did, and that's how we began. And so from April to launching our first gins in November of 2010 was quite a journey, quite a fast journey for us. So, really innovation at a pace, and to develop the brand as well as the actual building of the distillery, it really was quite a focused time for us. At the same time, there were external factors in, helping us with. We knew that this gin craze was coming along. We didn't actually think that it was going to get anywhere near as big as it is today, and we knew that we had a heritage of producing quality beers, and we knew that we would be able to transfer some of that knowledge and technology across to the distilling side. So this was our first generation of products. Not content with launching 1 gin and 1 vodka, we launched with 5 products, so three vodkas and 2 gins, premium and super premium in each range. They were quite corporate, I think, now looking back in their look. We wanted to reflect the brand at the time, and we wanted them to have this confident look about them. So we produced these products, and they had a sort of family in terms of the look, but really leading from the Copper House distillery as the brand, because the Copper House was actually, it came about, that was where the brewing coppers had been housed, so that was really where we decided the name came from. And we had a bit of a mixture in terms of the names and what we wanted to call them. We had at the premium range, we just called them distilled gin and barley vodka in terms of, it sort of does what it says on the tin. And then we came up with more creative names of sort of local bases, Longshore and North Cove are both places in Suffolk, near where we're based, and First Rate, really sort of going to that heritage of a coast around where we're based. So that was our first generation of products, and they were really well received from the get-go. But in terms of marketing, I called it marketing on a shoestring. I know there are a mixture of size of distillers in the room and companies, but for us, we really launched these products. We put quite a lot of money into the design, but we didn't really put a lot behind the marketing effort initially. And the marketing on a shoestring came about from when we entered one of our vodkas, we created a video for the vodka, and we spent, for us, quite a lot of money, tens of thousands of pounds on this video, and we entered it into one of the Marketing Society Awards, and it was called, the category was marketing on a shoestring, and it just amused me because it was a shoestring to some, but for us it was quite a major investment. So, but it does, I think, show that you can do a lot if you have a plan, and that's what we did. So we launched our distillery, we invited people along, opened the doors, what were this crazy brewer doing, having a distillery, and actually for a lot of people it was a chance to come along and see what we were doing. So PR was massively important for us, and we were able to get journalists along to come and see. I think at the time there was a lot of there was a lack of knowledge really in how white spirits are made. I think if we were lucky, consumer journalists had been to a whiskey distillery but had no clue how white spirits were made. And so part of it was to really get them in and educate them. So we had not only the opening party where they were able to look around the distillery, but then we had a lot of one-to-one visits. And it was really important for us to try and get that educational message across. Because one of the things that we were doing with having got the brewery was taking it really through from grain to glass. So we were making a beer wash in the brewery, taking that over to the distillery and then distilling it. And I think for some people that was really quite a hard thing to grasp. So no better way of doing that than to get them in and actually really talk them through it. As Adnams, we have a number of stores. We have 12 stores. At the time when we launched, we had one in London. We don't have it anymore, but they were a really great platform for us to be able to get our product on shelves from the off. We weren't having to rely on supermarkets to take the punt on a new product. We were able to put them straight on the shelves, which just gave us the opportunity to sell them. And again, tasting is a big part of what we do at Adnams. We can go, we always have a tasting bar on in our stores, so people are encouraged to taste the product. And we generally find once people have had a taste, then they are bought into the brand. So our stores and PR was really how we set that off. And then we started to enter awards, and really quite early on, we were beginning to win awards. And we had brought out by this time a limoncello and a slow gin and a spirit of Broadside. So every single one of our products has won an award. And we were delighted when we won the gin trophy a couple of years ago, and it really did just focus us as a business when Copper House Gin won that trophy, because it just gave our sales team the confidence to go out and say it's not just us saying it's a great gin, but it has been judged on an international stage. And so as a true marketeer, we took that. It has been judged on an international stage and won, so we called it the world's best, cheekily, and seem to have got away with it. But it is something we're very proud. John hates us calling that. He said, oh no, there are lots of other brilliant gins around, but and he will never stand next to the world's best gin sign. But it is something that we are incredibly proud to have won. And of course, the Gin Guild have been brilliant for us, not just because it is a Gin Guild event, but I haven't been told that I have to say this, but they have been really supportive and invited us along to events and taken our gin out to numerous places. And of course, social media, massively important for us as a brand. We now have 32,000 followers on Twitter. We are working hard on Instagram and Facebook. And it's a way that we can have a real two-way conversation. I think the marketing of, 5-10 years ago where you just were on transmit, those days have gone, and actually to have that two-way conversation has been really important to get some very, very valuable feedback. And then our main strategy has been around events, and that continues from local events through to gin-specific events, and recently we became sponsors of the boat race. So it just gives us a chance to get out and meet people. All of our events are staffed by Adnams employees. So we are very passionate about what we do, and it enables us to just tell the story, enable customers to come and taste our products and really just find out a little bit more about the brand. And as much as we can get John out in particular to tell that story, and Fergus, our master brewer, they have that real passion, that knowledge, and we try to put ourselves across as a brand with, we're from a real place, we have real people, and we're really, really proud of what we're doing. So what next? We started from a few years ago where we had the initial first generation products. I was beginning to think, well, as the numerous new gins were entering the market, things were changing and the look and feel of these gins were changing. So we decided with our barley vodka and our Copperhouse gin to redesign them. And so from going from quite a corporate, safe look, we decided to have a bit of fun. The brand was developing and we were introducing new colours all the time. And what we wanted to do was get that sort of bit more youthful, bit more vibrant message across. And that's what we did with those new designs. And we worked with Cook Chick, our designers, who had done the original packaging, and the discussion was, did we want to move them on, and was it evolution, was it revolution? Well, I think I'll hark back to my student days. I went back for revolution, so that's what we did. And those designs were they're printed on the back with a strong bold colour, and then the words East Coast and Copperhouse are on the front, so you can see them through, and it really does give a chance for that crisp liquid to really shine through very strongly. And again, I think the sales team just suddenly it reignited. The products had won awards. The gin had won a trophy, and there was this new packaging. And this year we were lucky enough to win a design effectiveness award. So it gave the sales team just that real focus, and they were very proud to go out. And suddenly we started to get numerous listings, and I, of course, take credit that that's all down to the rebrand, but actually I think it's a combination. We've worked really hard as a team to put everything behind this, and actually in terms of marketing budget, we can't do everything for every product, so we will lead with a few champion products and hope that everything else follows behind it. So a real success story in terms of those two, and we have more things to come. So this year, in the next couple of months, we will be launching a new gin and a new vodka. This is what is behind the classified, so I can't show you the actual design, but you can see that again those colours are coming through, and it is on a print, printed on a bottle like we have done with Copperhouse and East Coast. And this is actually going to be a rye gin and a rye vodka that we are releasing, and the rye has been grown by Jonathan Adnams at his farm, so we're in terms of miles and food miles, this is really quite minimal. Something we're hugely excited about. John has been perfected his recipes, and we're very ready to go, so we should see that one coming through as soon as the bottles are printed in the next few weeks. The vodka will be called Rye Hill, and the rye is grown at a place called Raden, which is just 2 miles outside of Southwold. And Raden in Old English, Ray means rye and Don means hill, so that's why we've called it that. So there's a real story. That's what we try to do, is really just sort of tell the story of our products coming through. And then the other one with the question mark is another rebrand. So where we have started with East Coast and Copperhouse Gin, we are now going to be rebranding our other two, so First Rate and Longshore Vodka. So we are looking to do those probably in the autumn of this year. We're just working on the designs at the moment, which is why I can't show you them, but we're hugely excited about that, and I think will position us, really take our spirits to where we want to get them as a real set, and actually, you know, when they look together and they look strong and confident, and but still trying to get across that fun that we have as a brand. So product extension is also something that we're looking at, and wouldn't you know that Copperhouse has managed to translate itself onto tea towels, onto postcards, you name it, we're doing it, and people seem to like it. So that's what we're doing, and aiming to sell those through our stores again. So we have a sort of captive audience in terms of the people visiting us. We recently, at Christmas last year, these little packs, they're called Gindulgents, and they were mini samples of First Rate, Copperhouse and Sloe Gin. So a very popular present for the gin lover in your family, and they flew off the shelves. We couldn't actually make enough of them. It was a bright idea that we had quite close to Christmas, so we tried to get as many on the shelves as possible. But we find that the picture over there is Copperhouse Gin cupcakes. That's one of our pubs that likes to do those and sells them, so you know, it's something that they are really proud of doing. And I mentioned Fergus, our master brewer. One of the things that has been really interesting since we had the distillery is the number of botanicals coming into the building with the distillery has sparked a real conversation between the brewer and the distiller. So they'll sort of look into each other's cupboards and, oh, what have you got there? You know, oh, I might try and use some of that. So one of the things that we're launching next month to coincide with World Gin Day is a juniper beer. And there's been a huge excitement. The sales team are busy outselling that at the moment, and they are getting a really good response from that. So we're really, really looking forward to that coming into the pubs, and we're going to bottle it as well. So what have we learnt? Well, actually, we had to learn a whole new language. We have been brewing, as I said, for so many years, and the language of distilling was quite different, and we had to learn that quite quickly. And so when I talked earlier about the importance of getting journalists up and their whole education process, actually there was a big learning curve internally for ourselves, us as a marketing team, and also for the sales team too. So that has been quite a steep curve for us to get. And I'm not saying we're always there all the time, but certainly we are speaking the language of gin much more these days. We also know that taste and experience sells, so we know that events has been a huge part of our strategy, and will continue to be, because if we can get out there, tell our story, we know that people are likely to buy into the brand. And if we can get them to taste our products at the same time, then all the better, because the likelihood is that, I'm sorry I haven't got samples today, but the likelihood is that they will then go on to buy our product and repeat that purchase. We're also very delighted that the gin craze doesn't seem to be stopping, so we are very, happy that is happening, and it just, you mentioned the bar where they have a gin menu, and I think we see that more and more, that pubs are not satisfied to just have one gin on their optics. They like to have a choice for their customers, and we like to help them with that choice. So, which is why we will continue to look at new product development. And I think you can succeed on a relatively small budget. I have not many thousands of pounds to spend, and I think we try and spend them as wisely as possible. We try and get out as much as we can. We continue to use PR, and I think it seems to be working for us so far. And I do also think that it's a balance of innovation with focus. It's great to bring out new products, and we will continue to do so. But actually, the success of getting everybody in the business behind Copperhouse Gin has really shown that when there's a focus, it really does pay dividend. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much.